So I was a painter, and then I found almost immediately I found the sculpture studio and went three-dimensional. Yeah, I'm not a scholar. I'm certainly not a scholar. But you look at picture books. Don't bother with the reading and writing part. But the picture books are really good. My information is all visual. I'm really a visual guy. I can't explain it. I can maybe appreciate it and do it, but I can't explain why somebody did something. How can you explain Rousseau's Sleeping Gypsy? I mean, you got to be whacked to do that.
Serrano peppers, lemons, roses, maples, oregano, tomatoes. Oh, here it is, here. Right here. Here's another hummingbird nest. Look at that. When I look through these, I like the wood turners a lot. I mean, I like the guys. I'm not, I think the problem is what they've decided to do, the turners, is to get as tricky as possible. These guys do some amazing things, but not very many have an art background. And so, they'll put color where it doesn't work, or a color that really doesn't work. And I'm just going through this, and so they're very traditional. When the heyday of furniture that I very fortunately just dropped into, at the time, I said, I'm going to make, I was an artist, painter, sculptor. I said, I'm going to make furniture. And I had no idea why, but I just thought I would make furniture. And I hit it just at the right time, the late 60s, well, the early 70s for me, up until the mid 90s. I mean, I'd have a show in New York or Boston or Philadelphia, sell out. I mean, it was, you really got full of yourself. You thought, hey man, my shit doesn't stink, And the prices were good, the galleries were happy, and the buyers. And what's happened now, I can't be sure, but you've got all these tech people, and they don't care. There's no more art education being done in the schools, or very little of it. So the design world is really taking over. It's not this woody stuff. It's quite beautiful. It's nice to live with, but it's not what's being bought now. That's not now. Again, it's the galleries and the interest. Back to the design stuff. People are more interested in that. I think because they see it as something new, whereas wood furniture is something old, but there's a lot of people out there that still want it. This table here and this black one back here, I made them and put them out on the deck. They were out there for years. And they got all weathered and everything, and then one day I said, well, look, these will look good in bronze. So right now these two tables are being cast in bronze. I blackened them so they were uniform, but they'll be cast in bronze. Lamps, I've made, I don't know, I could guess over 500 lamps in my career. For some reason, I got stuck on lamps. As you can see, there's a lot of lamps around. I like the idea of, this is a shipping crate, but the clock is built right into the shipping crate. This is it. It's rosewood, and it's never to come out. There's the thing for it. So if you send it somewhere, you just screw the front on, and away you go. You don't even have to build a crate for it. It's already done. I did a show in New York called Twirlings, and I had all my Turner friends send me their throwaways and stuff, and then I reworked them. So this is one of them. I had a show and I had about 100 pieces in it at Leo Kaplan in New York. and it went very well. And then this was a hemisphere, a perfect hemisphere at one time. And I wrapped latex tubing around it and steamed it to close like that, and then painted it. And it's one of my favorite pieces. I never imagined I was going to be a furniture maker. I was going to be a sculptor, and then I decided probably a painter. I did some good paintings, I think, but good classical design educations, you know, design elements, you know, and painting corner points, and, you know, and color and all that. So that really helped. And then when I decided to make furniture, I could just, you know, start using these ideas from art, and it was no big deal. And what I was doing, some of the stuff people were looking at, what the hell's he doing? When I first started out, I did some commissions. My commissions, you didn't have to put any money down, and if you didn't like it, you didn't have to take it. That worked out perfectly. I'd say about 3/4 of the people took it. But then I got a piece that I built for myself. Sometimes when I was making furniture, that a piece of wood, oh man, this would be really good this way. I start with an idea, whatever that idea is, and I just make it. I use a lot of glue, I use a lot of fasteners. They have to be comfortable, they have to be strong or well made, they have to be aesthetically pleasing. And I think I made 127 chairs in a little over a year. I was having them professionally photographed by a photographer, Lee Fothery, who does the very best work in the Bay Area here. And I had all the chairs. When I'm working on this chair here, I'm thinking of the next chair. And if I've got to wait for glue to dry here on this chair, I start the next chair. And sometimes I would have 3 chairs going. Same as I've done a series of benches and tables and lamps. So I work in series, and one thing leads to the next. Oh, that's not quite right, man, but I can make it better in the next chair, you know? So I don't know what you say. It's just, the ideas come. At night, when I'm going to sleep, I don't count sheep. I think about tomorrow, what I'm going to, you know, what it's going to look like. And one of the things that occupies a lot of my brain, whatever's left, is color. It is so difficult. When you start applying color to wood or to metal, you're making a really big statement, you know? Most of my work comes apart because, again, no drawing, so I have to be able to change something midstream, position of a leg or something. So I've developed some pretty unique fastenings that are totally engineered, you know, totally acceptable, stronger than a wood joint. So it allows me the freedom to take something off and put something else on it. And then when it comes to finishing, then I'm working with a bunch of small pieces that make a big whole, and I can just deal with them easier. If I see one that needs to be colored, instead of having to worry about getting dye on a nicely finished piece of wood, I just take the leg off and color it. My problem is the shakes. You know, it's really shaky. It's a drag. I'm tired of it. But what I want to do, what I feel I can do, is start painting again. But I can't, you know, because of these shakes. So, I don't know, you know. Unfortunately, I'm not excited about anything. That's a drag. That's really a pain in the ass. Because I have never, ever, I gave a lot of talks around the country and some overseas, and I used to say, and it was absolutely true, ideas, I'm not worried about ideas, I'm just worried about the time to get it made. because, you know, I mean, like I said, one thing leads to another. So I don't know what'll make me excited again. Maybe win the lottery, get out of debt. That'd excite me. Shakes. Ah, it's all right. This stuff is pretty. If that were gouache, I'd be in trouble right now. If I'm doing something that I need really intense color, I will use artist oil paints. It's cerulean blue, it's not true blue. And I don't know what I'm going to do here. Well, I'd always thought I wanted to be an artist from really a young age. I don't know, I was lucky or whatever it is. And so I painted all through high school, and then when we were going out, you know, and going to North Beach and sitting on a street corner painting a downhill. Artist, that's painter, you know, and sculpture, you know, that's, oh, what's that? Well, that's art too, okay. Oh, the best thing that's ever happened to me was going to art school, and the teachers I had, with a few exceptions, were just academicians left over from the war, you know. But I learned color and design. I mean, they really pushed that constantly. And so, although I don't think I'm an expert in color, what I do know now and what I appreciate is the knowledge I brought from that.
We knew each other in high school, and but didn't date until a year or two after high school. Dated for a while and then sort of drifted apart, and then a couple of years later we started dating again. I was driving by his grandmother's house one day, and I thought, oh gee, I wonder what Gary's doing. I hadn't seen him in a few years, and just knocked on the door, and he was there, and we went out to a movie, and we started dating seriously and got married in 1960. And he had, during the course of our dating in that, he had sort of made a decision to go to art school. And so he started at California College of Arts and Crafts in Oakland then. He went as a painter and then discovered the sculpture studio, and that sort of captivated him, although he was still seriously involved in painting courses. And then in addition to that, he started sculpting. So he has a little bit of early on experience there.
I don't know what motivated me to make this.
I think you were just killing time.
But it's a damn good drawing. I do like the eyes and the eyebrows, I think. And it looks just like me. Most of my painting was done close to leaving art school, so I had that influence. You know, California realists, Park, Bischoff, all those guys. So, yeah, they're just takeoffs on what was popular. Later on, I got a little more stylized, and I don't know, a little more storytelling maybe. But painting, I used painting even when I was making furniture full time. Once in a while I'd take a break because I could just quit thinking about, you know, you just get overloaded when you're working 7 days a week, you know, 10, 12 hours a day, you're full. So I could paint or make jewelry, that was the other thing. But yeah, it's hard to tie all this stuff together with what I, mainly am known for, because, this painting over here has maybe some impact on a piece of furniture over here. But it's hard to say, oh, well, I remember doing that painting and I really wanted to make it a piece of furniture. No, it's just, I can use that talent in the furniture. If I have a talent in painting, that's a big question. But certainly color, back to color. Boy, chairs, yeah, I since then I've made our house in Alameda not burned down, but it was, ended up about $1.5 million to rebuild it. So I came over here and I had to keep busy, so I thought, oh, chairs. So I started making chairs. And I'd made a couple, before this. And found them difficult in a way, but it wasn't a passion. But I just decided to do chairs. And I did a lot of riffs on Riefeld and, all the names of old chairs and that. Yeah, Frank Lloyd Wrong, yeah, that's a good title. When the house finally got finished, I ended up with, about 120 chairs, I think, something like that. When you're working, and I'm known as a very prolific worker, and I worked 7 days a week up until about 2 years ago, and I retired, and I only work 6 days a week. That's my own little joke. All my work, most of it comes apart, so I can change as I go along, and I do a lot of changing. And then when you glue it up, then you're done, you're cooked. But I could fabricate the aluminum. I didn't do any welding. I've done, other than gas welding on steel, and a little bit of arc welding. I haven't done much welding. So I found with the aluminum, I could fabricate it. I could make a chest and drill it, thread it, and tap it, and screw it together, and God, you really got something strong. I think an example is the Boston knee hole, which is now in the Smithsonian, and I used rosewood, aluminum, color core, bricks, yeah, glass, and glass, and good piece, real strong. As I told you when I went to art school, if I remembered this stuff, it has become intuitive, but I'm always using principles that I believe I learned at Arts and Crafts and design. And the design was mainly drawing and painting, but those designs carry through to three-dimensional work too. It's just, just using the right colors or using the right shapes. I can't explain it, I don't know. I can't say, oh yes, I designed this, but that's on paper. I don't think I need it. Now many people would probably say you sure didn't learn it, you need something, but those guys don't like me anyway. And I have some, like, the only way I can describe it is an isometric brain. So as I'm working on one piece, I kind of know what I want to do. A piece of work is constantly in flux, but I know what this piece is going to be, so I'm thinking of another piece. And another thing I really miss not working, I haven't done anything in 2 years because of some health issues. And what I really, really miss is at night going to sleep, because I can go to sleep thinking about what I'm going to do tomorrow morning. And that was just a joy, a color that I was going to try, or what piece of wood goes where, or is there a drawer there? So I really miss that.
Going back to your basic roots, starting with going into formal study for painting and drawing and all of that, can we sort of pull a thread forward to how it continues to influence your work? But your foremost interest initially, correct, was painting?
You hang on painting, in a way I don't know if it's painting or not, it's just the use of color. My painting, I think, in most instances, is just relying on color to do something to the object, to help it out. But the painting is it is a painting, it's an abstract design. People in the furniture thing, they don't have any training in color, so they just throw on a color. And that right now, referencing back to that, it kind of looks like, hey man, this looks really good red. And that's what it is. I don't know why I painted it red. Sometimes I repaint.
Yeah, many times.
There's that chair over there. I've repainted many times, and I really like the colors.
And then again, you've used the elements of color and shadow, really create almost additional painting on a surface. When you get that play of light, your eyes are trained to really look for balance and perspective and.
Well, yeah.
Because you turn your pieces around, they're interesting from all angles. It isn't a one-dimensional. I mean, your work has a whole different concept to it, really.
Well, I guess some people draw well, but when you see somebody drawing something, it really is a two-dimensional thing. When they're drawing a piece of furniture, when they make drawings that'll show it in another dimension, the three-quarter view, but they're drawing, the front, the side, and the back with the measurements. I don't. I just let it all ride. And the way I put things together, I can change things really rapidly. So, yeah, it's really, it's hard talking about this stuff because I've never thought about it.
Yeah, well, and it really doesn't need explaining, but it sort of does, because it's helpful information for people that are trying to understand things or see things. if they don't visualize in the same way, it's a learning process, and it's very helpful to hear how someone else approaches work. I love hearing how other artists approach their work or makers approach their work. It really is very informative.
Yeah.
And often you use texture with color I mean, it serves as texture, but it's actually flat color, like the checkerboard surfaces on this one.
Yeah.
And then that one too has the
That's just
the painted rear,
That's
which
hardly has anything to do in a way with color. You've just got to make sure you get the color right. But it's just a painted design. It's not, it's not saying, hey man, here's color and here's how well I use it. That's not it. It's just, checkerboard especially, unless you get to the dark squares, can be neutral, or it's such a strong pattern that it could probably take over a piece, and you may not want that. This is all, so much of this is subjective to my way of thinking. And people want to put meaning in everything, which is, oh God, Rothko, or this is it's very frustrating trying to explain this. It's like sitting down with Dostoevsky and having him explain something. It'd drive you goddamn crazy. Wendell and I are pretty much peers, and I think Wendell is probably the best that's ever come along, and will come along in quite a while. So I always admired Wendell's work, but I never copied it or used any of it. I mean, he was just a lot better than I am at really making something perfect. His trompe l'oeil work and stuff like that. But one thing Wendell and I had in common, we were very good friends. And I remember one day we were sitting here in the living room over there, and a couple of things because I'd like to get a plug in for Wendell. Everybody thought he was snooty, snobby. And after knowing him for a while, I realized he wasn't. He was a pretty shy man. So that can come off as kind of uppity, but he was a very shy man. And we both realized we should only paint for fun.
when I saw Wendell's work, when I really got to know Wendell's work, and knew him and how he worked in that, I realized how similar in my mind the way he approached his work was to Garry, in that both of them, I feel, really push the envelope. They're fearless. They just really go after something they're looking for, and there is a commitment there that they don't care, but they're going to resolve these issues for themselves. And I always looked at Wendell as being really gutsy, and I mean, he did some kind of clunky stuff, some magnificent stuff, but he wasn't afraid to go for it. And I think that's such an amazing ability. And Garry's the same way, in that it seems to me that he's constantly setting up these unwritten challenges to really keep himself. It's a self-motivation type of thing where, you know, I know I can do that, but I know I can make that line better. I know that I can resolve this issue better. You know, it's very exciting to see their work.
I would like to be put in the same category as Wendell. I think I'm a notch or two behind him, but I don't think anybody's at Wendell's level. Well, a piece of wood that has a shape to it, you know, it's just your building.
Yeah.
You know, so you're just building on something, and that would be maybe an idea, but I really don't think I build anything from an idea. It's a vision.
He follows threads, you know, something will kick it off. His whole goal is pushing the edges, you know, just always seeing how far he can take something and where he can take it. So it's unexpected, it's not planned, but he'll go with something, and if it really is inspiring, he'll do a lot of it, and he'll start exploring it. It takes on its own life, and he just sort of follows and pushes, you know, as he goes. That's kind of been his approach, you know, that I've observed all the way through.
I guess you know me a little bit after 60 some odd years.
There's a famous saying among artists and makers is that every one of them needs a wife. Male or female, you need a wife, or that classic someone to take care of the stuff. And that's what I try to do. I don't like it either, but I don't. Well, he just dictates and I translate for, you know, his correspondence and stuff. But I can do it. You know, it's something that I'm facile with. I hate it, but I can do it. And Garry hates it and can't do it. So there you are. You know, it's a shared responsibility. You know, he's because I support what he does. You know, always have. My feeling is that as much as you can keep together, because, you know, if things dissipate and just go away, I mean, there's work left, but there's no history behind it, and it makes it much more interesting if you know the history of something, if you can sort of show it from beginning to end. I get calls, you know, not frequently, but over the years, it's been great having the information at hand. Now stuff is, you know, thank God it's in the cloud now. It's somewhere other than here. But yeah, so archiving is a big relief in many ways. You know, I do fear not having this stuff at hand, but better off there than not at all.
You know, and Sylvia wanted me to talk about names.
Oh yeah.
So I paint under Ambrose Pilfister, and I make jewelry under Geraldo Benucci, and then furniture under GKB. Yeah, one other thing that really kept it going was commission work, which I've only done about 3 in my life, you know, and the ones that I did, if I made a commission, took a commission from somebody, I didn't want any money down. They didn't know what they were getting. If they wanted a table, they were getting a table, or a lamp, they were getting a lamp. But I'll make this for you. Because what I was doing is making it for myself, and if they liked it, they could pay me. Precious art I do not make, but I'd like, you know.
Are you happy with what you've accomplished?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, there's nothing else I want to accomplish other than to be able to work again, but that ain't going to happen. I'm called an artist, and it's flattering, but I think I see myself as a furniture maker. If I can say it's satisfaction.
Yes.
And you know that
More than a precious
I'm just, when I do a piece that I think is good, I'm really satisfied.